Reverend Chad, would you get us started?
All right, thank you, Chuck. Now, Bob told me that he will volunteer for any committee you have if you'll let me tell a joke before the meeting today. Is that okay? Okay. And that's not the joke. Now, so we had one that, the preacher had preached, a good sermon, and of course, the receiving line was coming out of the church, and a young boy had a nice little coin bank that he had filled up with coins, and he just quietly put that in the preacher's hand as he went by, and the preacher was, "Oh, thank you, son." And he said, "I'll put that in the offering." And he said, "Oh, no, preacher, that's for you." He said, "No, son, I won't put it in the offering." "No, it's for you." "Well, why do you insist that's for me?" He said, "Well, last night at dinner, my dad said you're the poorest preacher we ever had." Oops. All right. Will you please stand for prayer and the pledge? All right, let's pray. Father, we do thank you for this day you've given to us, and it was just a little bit more cozy outside this morning than it has been in the last few days. We thank you for that little break from the heat. But Lord, we're also so grateful for the rain, the sunshine, how all that works together to just create such a beautiful surrounding. Lord, we thank you that all of creation cries out in your praise. And so, Lord, we ask today that you will bless the Resident Association meeting. Thank you for the resident board and the work that they do. And, Lord, for our residents here on campus and all that they do in our lives and each other's lives, we thank you for them. Bless them and bless this time here today, we ask. In your holy name, amen. Will you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
How's this? Okay. Just a quick note before I forget it. On the back table are the minutes to the Hospitality Committee. They've been doing an absolutely great job. Arlene could not be here today. So the minutes are there, and I think they are pretty comprehensive about things that have gone on there. So again, they're on the back table with all the goodies. Okay. I have a question just to ask, just to see if it's just a fraud that's with myself, and I understand, Jerry, you had the same experience. As you read your Medicare reports, or even if you don't, are you getting unsolicited COVID testing kits? How many are getting unsolicited? Yeah, see this? Okay. I've written to the, but I think if I could figure a way to get everybody's name maybe on a letter, and send one to Medicare and send a copy to one of our senators or somebody's office, that maybe we would get some reaction. I've already called the Medicare fraud line, and they just blew me off. Did anybody else call? You did? Did you feel like you got blown off? Yeah. Has somebody got a mic? Let me.
I'll talk to you after the meeting. We don't need to delay this thing here. We all know that Social Security and the Medicare office is extraordinarily slow at responding to service. I can say that loud enough. They are the Medicare I contacted and the fraud line. And to just get to the fraud line took me 30 minutes. Once I got to the fraud line, I was told, oh, this is a very common complaint. And I had all my literature in front of me. I identified 4 different sources of COVID kits on my Medicare documents
Yep.
going back to 2022. And then they said, oh, well, I need all the names, et cetera, et cetera. By the time, they would not let me hang up. If I hung up the phone out of frustration, they would have killed the complaint. I had to hold on the phone in order for them to complete the filing of all 4 fraud sources, and that took an additional 45 minutes.
Okay.
And I said, do you really need me here? She said, if you hang up, I have to stop the complaint.
Okay.
So that's part of the problem. Thank you. And
Well,
but I don't want to discourage anybody from calling the fraud, and
No.
I think your idea of a mass complaint, mass
what
filing
I'm
is a good
thinking
one.
is if we put together some sort of a mass letter, it may get more attention. So let me go on and see what I can do. And I was just wondering, because when I raised that at Rotary this morning, I was pretty surprised. Not many people had that problem. There's a lot of us at Rotary that are a lot younger, but there's a lot of us, there's 3 of us here, and we're all Medicare people. Okay, all right, that was the first thing I wanted to talk about. Second thing, and I apologize because on the resident survey there, people made suggestions, and one of them was, I'll put it more politely, to perhaps I should not talk as much as I do, but that's okay. I'm going to carry on anyway. There was a meeting, a budget meeting just yesterday with the ACTS leadership, and they were beginning their budgeting process and asked, what kinds of things did they think we should add? And it was the Southeast region, so all the CCRCs that were in there, and it was interesting to hear very similar comments that I've heard here, like on the construction, get the empty buildings filled because then they pay the maintenance fee, and we're not subsidizing that. Comments on culinary, comments on post COVID, people feeling that as yet we have not gotten back to the place that we were prior to COVID as far as satisfaction goes. So a lot of the stuff was the same things that we've been challenged with. So it is an ACTS-wide issue. Very, very open meeting, very detailed on what their assumptions were for the budget. Really a good open meeting, I thought. They did not come up with a tentative number for the increase, and you can't expect them to because they don't have all the numbers yet regarding inflation and some of the other costs that go into it. So we'll keep you posted on what we hear. ACTS did have a good first quarter, which I think was very important. As you remember, that we, like most CCRCs, because of the COVID, lost some fairly hefty dollars last year. But with the increase in revenue generated by the 7.5% increase and looking at some cost, they've done at least the first quarter, we are now in a positive financial position. Okay. I'd like to just go over the results of the resident survey and some of the things that we're going to do. Some of the answers surprised me a bit, and so I'll just talk a little bit about it. Question one was, do you routinely attend the meetings? And a number of people said no. A number of people said, I forget. And I've asked Therese now to begin on Tuesdays before the Wednesday meeting to send an email to everybody that the meeting's happening. There are a lot of other reasons, including the fact that they don't attend because they feel nothing gets done, and but there we go. Question 3, are you satisfied with the structure of the board? And 70% said they were. I was surprised at that number. I thought it would have been lower, and it says to me, what we've got is what people feel's okay. So we should continue to go forward with it. The question on the salad bar, about 50% people want us to continue to pursue it. But it didn't seem to be everybody getting too fired up about it. So we will be talking with the Culinary Committee tomorrow at their meeting about a couple of things. One of the things that did come up on under question 6, which asked what recommendations you might make, and there are all sorts of recommendations, some of them contradicting each other, some saying the place should be filled with managers, others saying they shouldn't show up. But at any rate, culinary came up a number of times, and I hope we'll be able to design a survey that we will be able to distribute in about 3 months, because we've just started a new reservation system. We've just started a new meal system, and to get some idea of how people are responding to it. But I sure wouldn't do it today. I think we need to give the shakeout period so that we do it about 3 months from now, and we will be talking with them about that. The whole issue about a printer, about 12% of the people don't have a printer, so obviously they cannot print out the Express. The Express is something that came up time and again, that people would have preferred to have ACTS continue to distribute that. ACTS has made a decision not to do that, so we got to move on and do the best we can. The Express is down in Diane's office for people that don't have a computer. The other thing that came up was that there was a high percentage of us, and I consider me part of the us. Do you own a printer that can print the Express? There's 43% of us that said no. Erland has indicated that they're going to change the format so that, in fact, if you have a printer like myself, or perhaps it's the way I approach it and the other 44% approach it, but she's going to change it to a different format so that we will be able to print that out. So some of those things we're addressing immediately. But I thought I should get back, and I wanted to get back to everybody. It should have been in your cubbyhole, the results of the survey. I think it's critical to get back when you do a survey and also let people know at least what you're going to do with the information. So that's where we are on that. I also, I'm a little disappointed we don't have more folks here today, but there we go. One of the things we are working on with the resident association, with ourselves and the hospitality committees, we're exploring getting a bar and doing what they've done over in East, which is they have, I believe it's on Saturday nights, Friday nights, Carolyn says Friday nights. They have a bar that people contribute alcohol to, and they meet at 7 o'clock generally after dinner. My question, pardon? It is Saturday. Okay, thank you. On Saturday, okay. Yeah, it's opposite bingo. Okay. Any rate, we're exploring that with the hospitality committee. We're trying to get we have sort of a subcommittee of the resident association to take a look at. What I'd like to know from you folks is we're taking a look at a couple of sites. One of the sites would be at the H building. If you remember, Lee got something going at the H building a couple of years ago, was it, Lee? Yeah. Any rate, and the other possibility is somewhere around this lounge area. And the time, many of you are aware that right now we sort of have a bar, a wine bar, that is functioning during birthday nights and other nights when Therese has occasionally had entertainment in during dinner time. So that happens at dinner time. Does anybody have any feelings about where, if we are able to do it, where we ought to do it, and what time? Yes, sir.
For those of us who have trouble walking,
Go ahead.
for those of us who have trouble walking, it would be convenient if the bar were somewhere near here.
Okay. There's a hand back there.
There seems to be space right at the entrance that used to be, that's always locked. Can that not be opened up and add some space for a bar? I think that could be utilized with tables and chairs.
Talking about George's office?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a perfect place.
I don't know if George would like that.
Jerry?
Therese, you just gave up a big space. Are we going to convert that space to an area where we could have a bar?
You'll have to torture me to get an answer from me. I don't know. They won't tell me, so I can't leak it out to the masses.
Well, I'm just trying to find where our ideal would be. Maybe that we can't do it, but got to start somewhere.
I'd recommend Friday evening after dinner in the lobby.
Okay?
Is that everybody?
Any other ideas people have? Okay. Oh, got it. I agree with Jim. Okay. Pardon? No, he's talking about Friday. Nelson's is Saturday. So, okay. Thank you for that input. We will continue working on that particular thing. Also, one of the most important things that we do, and it's the primary revenue generator here, is new to you. There are a number of people that have indicated they'd be willing to work on New to You, but Al has done a lot, but he submitted his resignation a couple of months ago, and I thought I had somebody that was going to take his place. Unfortunately, due to health reasons, that individual could not. So I am looking for somebody that might be willing to lead a committee on New to You. I think it takes a lot of people because there's a lot of work there. I'm not going to tell you this is a simple thing. You do not have to have any strength to do it, okay? The person over in East is Jane Brown, who has done it for a long time, does a great job over there. Actually fought, I guess Jane told me, 5 or 7 years and finally got a space to sort of store her stuff with New to You, but that didn't come easy. But at any rate, if there's anybody here, not only if you'd like to do it, lead a committee, or you'd like, or you know somebody that you think might, please let me know. It's really important to all of us because things like buying a bar and some of the other things we've been able to do come out of the money that people have worked quite hard at making New to You successful. So there we go. Again, catch me after the meeting, or if you want to do a volunteer right now, that's okay with me. So, okay. Well, I've done my rattling. Therese, I don't see Erlen here. You want to do your? There's a lot of what Therese is going to talk about in the minutes to the Hospitality Committee, which are laying again on the back table.
Good morning. Okay, I did send out some emails, and I just wanted to go over some stuff because there were some things that were a little confusing. So, okay, Thursday night, we have musical bingo. Between East and West, we have about 75 people signed up, so it's going to be fun. We're going to have a little wine set up at the entrance, and I heard they had a really good time doing it East, so it's kind of like Name That Tune and bingo. So that's what it is. So that's happening. And then the Wild West concert was canceled due to lack of interest. I know everybody, I believe everybody who was interested in football has signed up already, and it's all out there. It's pretty explanatory, and I also did put it in emails, but I did want to remind those that are going to football that the price increased to from 100 to 107. Not a big increase, but she just found out at the last minute, so I figured I'd let you know that. She sent something out to all of you, Wendy, that is. And there's 8 home games. For those of you who think are on the fence and are not sure if they want to go to football, we basically take a bus down to the Vero Beach High School, and they have bleachers, and so you have to bring your cushion to be comfortable. But they have a great cheerleading squad, and the football players do a phenomenal job every year. They're always in the top echelon of people who are going to win. They are always in the playoffs. So it's a fun thing to watch. Also, we have tailgate dinners that will be announced as soon as we get them together with Culinary, and they're always in the private dining room, and they alternate between West and East, and we'll let you know each game where the tailgate dinner will be. So you meet down in the private dining room prior to the bus leaving. They'll have hamburgers or hot dogs in the private dining room. You wear your red for your team, and then you're off. So that is happening. And then also, don't forget the pep rally that's going to be happening over at East, and that's all out there on the board. So let's get on to the next thing. Yeah, so the pep rally has the high school cheerleaders. It's quite fun. And they do a cheer and stuff in the lobby over at East. And they have some band members, and the head coach comes out in uniform, and they kick off the season. So it's kind of fun. And if you want to make reservations over at East, you can, and have dinner with the players. I don't know if they'll say much, but you could probably have a nice dinner with them, talk football. Ask the director, always the second Tuesday of the month for newcomers, and birthday night as well. We'll have RJ's coming back, and Norm, they'll be playing together. New to you sale at East at Thursday, the 10th, same day as ours, 9 to 12 at East. If you want to run over there and then come over to ours, ours is at 9 to 12, same day, and it's the holiday extravaganza sale. So if you need some new stuff to get in the mood for the holidays that are going to be coming upon us, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, go on over to the sale. They have a lot of stuff to give you and cookware and all kinds of stuff at very, very low prices. And furniture, sometimes you look out and that piece you need. Okay, now, I wanted to bring up, I have sent it out in emails now twice, but I just wanted to make it clear the importance of it, is the Volunteers Matters launch. So primarily, we have a lot of volunteers here. They volunteer at Willowbrook Court, hospitality committee, all kinds of stuff. So that being said, we need to now do it electronically on the portal. I know everyone hates that. But what they do is they basically get your username and they help you set it up. So once your username and your profile is in there, it's relatively easy. They've kind of showed me basically how to do it. And so it's once you get the username set up, I know a lot of people have a little difficulty, there's a little hiccup in there that seems to make people go around in circles, but we're gonna address that. So once we get through that, you'll be able to every month just put your hours in that you volunteer instead of doing it on the paper. Now, if you feel uncomfortable or if it's not something you think you can do, I've spoken with Maxine and Delia, and we're going to keep the papers out there to keep signing your volunteer hours up on that. In the event that you have a hard time, her and I will get together and we'll try to make sure that you get your hours in there. And the reason being is that we need our nonprofit status, okay, here. And volunteerism, we have to show it at the end of every year annually. And that helps us keep our nonprofit status. And that's what we need to, with FLICRA, to fight the bed tax and all that stuff. So it's important that we kind of get on board and learn how to do that. Now, I spoke to Kathy from Transportation, and she said, everybody raise your hand, you think you might need transportation, because it's going to be over at East, because we had a conflict, we couldn't do it over here. So would anybody want the bus to go over there to go to the Volunteer Matters? I only see one hand. Okay, well, I'm going to put out a sign-up sheet, and if you think that you need, help getting over there, we'll provide the transportation, because it is important. Okay, moving on. What else we got? Don't get bored with me yet.
Therese, I just have to remind you, 12% of the people that answered this survey do not have computers. So please
that's why I said
keep that paper system
That's why
up.
Maxine and I were being realistic, and we said, well, come on, there's people that don't have computers, so we're going to have to keep that paper going. But learn it if you can, because why not? It might be easier on you in the long run. Okay, back over to Maravay Salons. I have a sign-up I just put out there this morning, 5 people. They're at East Card Room. They're going to do a makeup representative artist from Dillard's will be there to help put you together, ladies, and a nice new ideas on how to do that. And so there's 5 spots left over there. Some people have already signed up through the Maravay Salon, but there's 5 spots left for some West residents if you're interested in going over there and doing that. So run to the sign-up board and punch each other out to get that spot. Where are we at now? Okay. We have a tour of the Norton Museum in West Palm. It's $32 plus lunch. Now, the last time we went to Norton Museum, it was very pricey, and they had difficulty seating everyone at the same time. So I think Kathy and I decided we went to lunch afterwards. But I know that there's a group at East that really wants to eat there. I'm not sure why, but we'll work something out so that everybody's happy if you want to go. And it's a cobalt blue porcelain and indigo dyed textiles, blue and white. So if it's something you're interested in, they have a lot of things to look at, not just that. If you're not interested in that, there's other paintings and stuff to look at. Okay, Citizens Academy, we just put that out there. It's a series of classes, 14 classes to be exact, and it's very interesting. If you're interested in law enforcement and the sheriff's department, they have a hands-on program. It's a little lengthy. It's from 6 to 9. And the cost is free, but you have to get charged for the bus unless you want to drive yourself, which you can do. And it's 14 sessions, so 5 times 14 is $70 for the bus. You're welcome to drive yourself, like I said. It's starting Wednesday, August 16th, and it goes through October, around the 15th, every Wednesday from 6 to 9. So if you think that's something you want to do, sign up. And they even put out a little finger food spread for you. So they do the crime lab and the courthouse and canine demonstration. So it's very interesting from what I've been told by other people. Okay, then we have the Choristers Concert, Summer in the 60s. So get your tie-dye shirts out. We're going to have a concert, and I think we're going to have a little wine, and we're going to have it decorated really nice. And we've asked the employees to dress up. So it should be fun. Okay. I wanted to tell you there was a change in what I sent out in that email. The topic of the home health presentation has changed, and it is now called How Home Health Can Help After an ER Visit, a Hospitalization, or a Willowbrook Court Stay. Now, a lot of people here have had falls and different things that have happened, and it would be nice to find out what opportunities, especially if you're alone, if you needed an extra hand for when you come back from an illness or a fall or therapy, and just you can come down and see what they have to offer. That's kind of why you moved in here. So I think it sounds like a good thing to go check out presentation-wise. And that is going to be 11 at East and 1 at West. And that same day, we have the Silvertones concert, which is a free concert, and you've already started signing up for that. And that's going to be on Thursday, the same day, at 11. So you can go to 11 for the home health presentation at East, 1 o'clock here, Silvertones, 11 here. Wilding Review, Melissa DePriest, you all know her. She's involved in the college here, and she's done some presentations here. She's doing a Wilding presentation over on the 25th, which is a Friday. So if you want to check that out, it's in your calendar. I don't know too much about it, or else I'd tell you. Green Marlin, Lunch Bunch, that's out there. You can sign up for Little Night of Music at the Vero Beach High School. They always do a great job. If you want to go to that, that's at 2 o'clock on the 27th, which is a Sunday. And then finally, wrapping up the month, we have a well-being presentation given by our dietitian, Irma Ramirez-Ray. If anyone has met her, she's very nice. The topic is going to be false nutrition and health claims. So that's another interesting topic if you want to come on down and see it. Asian-themed dining and culinary. So everybody knows we're all on the same date. It's going to be on the 30th of the month of August. So get your reservations. Walk, walk. And then finally, Harry Getzoff presentation to be announced. He hasn't told me what his topic is, but he will soon, and I'll get it out there. And he'll be 7 p.m. here, August 30th, and that is on a Wednesday. And that's it. Okay, guys? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Therese. She really puts together, I think, a great program. And I put in a plug for people like the choristers, the football thing. If you like football at all, it is really fun. And the Silvertones, which have a number of our people in it. So that and all the other things she's talked about really have a lot of things going on. The next person I'd like to have come up would be Jane Weiss and talk a little bit about recycling.
Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. All right, it's good to see your faces and your smiles. I'm on the building maintenance committee. Lee, our chairperson, is here, Lee McGow. But my main interest is recycling. And so I wanted to share two pieces of good news. One is that we have a new recycling room in the H building. Now, the H building is the building everybody wants to be a part of because it's a great building with great people. But unfortunately, up until now, if you were going to recycle, you had to come down to the first floor, even if you were on the second or third floor. And one of the recycling rooms, of course, is right across from the fitness room. The other one is, of course, near the elevators. And not too convenient, but you still do a great job with recycling. The new recycling room, and I want to thank Justin Bass for that, is 319. 319. Who's here that lives on the third floor? All right, you got a new recycling room, so you don't have to go downstairs. Okay, good, Jerry. The other piece of good news, and this was finished a couple of months ago, but we just haven't been able to talk about it, is that we have new posters, recycling posters, giving good instructions about what is recyclable. And they're in the recycle rooms, right behind the recycle bins. So check that out. And again, we have Justin and Joe responsible for that. The other thing I want to talk about just briefly is reusing. They have found out that if we are very careful about reusing some of the items, like this is mostly, if we reuse this bottle, we really can save 30% in the landfills. And we go back to when we were little, when I was little, nothing was thrown away. My parents threw nothing away. We reused it, or the milk bottles went back to the milk person, the milkman, and then it was recycled. Coca-Colas were recyclables. We took them to the grocery store and got a little bit for them, or they were recycled by the Coca-Cola company. So let's try to go back to recyclables and reuse. And there's another thing we can do, which is repurpose. Repurpose. Now, one of the things that we use a lot and can be reused, how many of you reuse this little takeout for keeping other good? Very good. And not only that, they can be not just for leftovers, but I have some thread. I have some office supplies, tacks and paper clips and things of that type, because you can see through them. So let's reuse these things, and you can even decorate them for Christmas. Ari did this recently. Ari redecorated and brought things around at Christmas time, so we can use this. And then there is the item of sustainability. This is number one. It's stainless steel, and it's also insulated. And this is number two. Which one is more sustainable, number one or number two? Yes, number one is more sustainable and lasts a lot better. And This one is reusable, but it's also very thin plastic. And before you know it, if you open it and you try to start drinking it, the water goes over your face, which is like, whoops. Now, I have two other items. Which is more sustainable for groceries, this one or this one? This is number one. Oh, let me change it. This is number one, and this is number two. Which is more sustainable? Yes, we could take this to the grocery store and get our groceries, or use it, reuse it. So the idea of sustainability and reusing and repurposing is going to be the topic of the month. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We ought to, I skipped around a little bit. Sorry about that. Didn't do it intentionally. Sally?
The minutes from last month were all posted. I received no other corrections, so those minutes will be put into the library, as there is that library right behind us, and they will be posted as written. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Anybody have any questions that I can't answer?
Jack's the treasurer. He's talking about the financial report, which
Yeah.
is on the back of the agenda.
Yeah. I just came back from a cruise, thank you.
Okay. George, you want to do a quick commercial?
So how many people saw the full moon last night? It's called a supermoon, and we'll have it again if you missed it. It's supermoon because it's very close to the Earth, 222,000 miles away. And there'll be another one if you missed it on August the 30th. So, House Bill 351, Jerry had asked about this a long time ago, has been passed and obviously passed and signed by the governor. That is the bill that created the medication technician's aid. So that's done. The FLACRA annual conference will be at IRE on October the 25th and 26th. The 25th will be in the afternoon at East. The 26th will be in the morning at West. On the 25th, we'll probably have about 20 to 25 outside people so that Bennett can have his staff and the regional directors, and we'll have an opportunity for people to sit in on that and observe. On the 26th, we'll be here in West, and we're not sure yet whether it will be theater style or tables. Depends on the last minute number that we have. But right now, we're planning for about 110 people. So if you can imagine, right now, we are probably 50 in here. So double that, and that's probably what we'll have then. I mentioned to Chuck earlier, this has nothing to do with FLACRA, frankly, but there is a tax holiday going in effect right now between now and Labor Day. So there's no tax on movie theater tickets, cultural things, sporting events, museums, parks, that kind of thing, no tax. So if you see something and the tax is there, remind them, oops, no tax. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Now it's time for the open forum. If anybody has anything, any issues you'd like to raise, or she's coming with. We need, once again, we need the microphones because if you're picking it up on the TV, it doesn't work.
The lake by the new villas. It's full of construction debris for the construction that has taken place over the last year. Some people have described it as an open toilet bowl. I spoke to someone who claimed to be in charge and said, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, we'll take care of that right away. That was at least a month ago. There is no reason why the people who pay the most should have the dirtiest lake. That lake should be the same condition as the lake that we see outside the dining room windows. That's a nice lake, and the other lakes should be as nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, you, okay. Make you with a bit.
On the bottom line of the research, you said many great ideas will help us as we move forward. You received many great ideas. Which, if any of them, are you beginning to talk about and have a possibility of becoming a reality?
Okay. To be honest about it, we had about 2 days, a couple of days after I was able to put this together to the committee meeting. We haven't talked in depth about many at all, including Jerry. Including Jerry's list of things that ought to be considered at least. Get back to you on that next month. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Chuck, I get a little bit frustrated when I see construction going on in a certain apartment, and then they go down to the elevators, and you can see the trail coming down from that apartment of junk all over the floors, and they never pick it up, and then the poor cleaning ladies that have to clean the halls that everybody uses have to work overtime, and it's very frustrating. I would like to see maybe each contractor charged a surcharge or something when they're doing an apartment, and if they keep that area clean, they get the 100 or whatever back, and if it's always tracked up with stuff, they lose it. But it happens all the time, every time I see some construction going on in the hallways that goes into a certain apartment.
Okay. We can try and get them to be more careful about it. I'm not sure, when you contract, whether you can do it or not, but.
2 things. One, I would second what the gentleman in the back said. The construction people will overload, or the carts are too big when they're taking the demolition material out. Not only do they leave tracking material on the rugs that have to be cleaned up, but they also scrape the walls, they chip the walls. The elevators are big streaks of white on the walls and the doors. So I would second what he says. I have complained and taken pictures and sent them over to management, but not a whole lot is happening as far as the construction people are concerned. Second item, how many good coffee drinkers do we have in here? How many are satisfied with the coffee machine in the lobby and in the cafe? We would like to have those machines pulled out and put brewed coffee back in place of them. And I'd like for our association committee to get behind that.
Okay.
Several months ago, when the plaques were mounted out here on the wall, recognizing the residents who had achieved over 500 hours of volunteer service, I forgot to mention one of the most influential people who started that program. The person also has over 1,000 hours of volunteers. Nancy Heim, would you please stand up and be recognized? Thank you.
Thank you for doing that. Anything, there's,
Jerry and I have been away for about 3.5 weeks, and we just got back. And I'm just wondering how everybody feels about the new brown bag system here at West. Seems to me that we don't have, it's always the same thing day after week after week. I don't know, is it just me, or does anybody else feel like that? Maybe there aren't that many brown baggers. We are brown baggers because we live in a villa, and it's inconvenient for us to come to the dining room.
talking, I'm sorry, I'm pretty deaf. You just talked about the brown bag? Okay. Okay.
It's a menu. Every day you have to fill out. Every
Okay.
day. If you have it for 7 days, you have to fill out 7 sheets. But the
Okay.
7 sheets are identical, except that you can choose a different menu, but the menu is always the same. They have probably 1 or 2 specials a week, and everything else is always the same.
Okay.
And I've been going to East for my brown bags.
Well, thank you for repeating that. I'm sorry, I just don't hear well. Good idea.
Different menu?
Okay. Okay. Justin, did you want to make any comment about the lake situation? From, no, you don't.
We will look at it. I know nothing about this, but we'll look at it. We'll get it done.
Okay, good. Sorry to put you in the spot.
Yeah, I don't know who he was talking to, but we'll get it done.
Okay, good. Anything else? Go ahead.
For the lady that asked about the brown bags, it's the same for us too. It's like we go to the same restaurant every day of the week. We don't get a choice either. Once a week, they have 2 items on there, most of which I don't like. And I mentioned that before, that we don't get a choice of what we have. And I don't know of anybody that goes out to dinner every night and goes to the very same restaurant for the very same menu. And I have many diet restrictions. And I was just at the doctor yesterday, and he was telling me I need to be more careful. I said, I don't get much choice of what I eat. So I think we as a resident association ought to get on it. Changing a menu every 3 months, and I can drive, I could go out to eat. But for people that can't, that's really bad. They don't have a choice.
Okay.
I just wanted to add one thing to that. We're very nutrition conscious, and it's a big deal to eat a certain amount of fruits and vegetables every day. And I find it really a problem that I have to choose between dessert or fruit every day.
I'd like for the association board to investigate the following. The new menu and reservation system that has been imposed on us here as a change, is this across the entire corporation? All 28 communities are being forced into this? Or is it an experimental thing that the regional guy, Jonathan, is pushing onto our location? We've had this before. How many of you here, been here a number of years, remember the dessert experiment where we had individual little desserts and kits that they made up your dessert and served to you? It was tried at one location, it didn't work, and Jonathan says, oh, we'll try it here. It lasted about a month. Are we the only ones using this new menu system, reservation system? I think we need to look at that and say, look, hey, the rest of the corporation's not doing this. Why are you imposing this on us?
I believe that the reservation system has been tried and before implemented here, but I'm not sure. I saw a hand back there.
Just a quick comment. We were just recently at another Axe community in Pennsylvania, and they are doing this same routine that we're doing here with the culinary and the menus. But their menu is a little different. But I will say one thing. Be careful what you wish for.
Okay. Yes, sir. Dress right.
Raise your hand.
Go ahead. Do you have, somebody had a hand up over there.
And just a clarification, please. Was it previously stated that over in East, they are not using the same order form, type of order form that we are here in West for the brown bags? Was that the statement?
That, my understanding is, where'd she go? That they're not, at least right now. On the other hand, I can't tell you whether they're just going to evolve into it or not.
Just a question of fact. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, did somebody have their hand raised?
Anybody else have anything that they, yep. Hang on, just.
Can I talk?
Push it up. Okay, talking?
Okay, has the committee ever basically looked at this kind of issue, dealing with the kitchens and the management and so forth?
Well, the culinary committee has been the primary source of doing that. Has it gotten to the resident association? Not yet, but that's why I'm recommending that we get into the menu, et cetera, and take a look at how people are receiving that. I believe we need to be part of that.
Well, I think at least you've got some suggestions, and the committee might be able to look at it in a specific manner and get more information than I think the board at least should have them make that evaluation if they're willing to do it. Culinary committee.
Culinary committee. Well, again, we have, I believe there's a meeting that's tomorrow, isn't it? Give Phyllis a mic.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
We had someone over here.
just, we'll get back.
The culinary committee meets on the third Thursday at 9:30 in the dining room. The meeting will be a week from tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you. For some reason, I had it in my head being tomorrow.
I have a question. Why did they turn the lights off on Saturday night at 9 o'clock? When we walk home from bingo, it's dark in the hallways, and everybody's complaining. And I used to live in H building, and it was really spooky walking down those empty hallways all by myself.
Justin, maybe you can.
Which building? I can look at the timers. And they go off at 9? You want them off at 9? What time do you want them off at? What time? Okay. All right, I'm gonna set it for 10 o'clock. I'll do all the buildings. All right.
Okay.
Okay, did somebody want to speak over here? You wanted to clarify.
Kathy just asked me to clarify the difference between east and west. When you pick up, we used to pick up a menu. It was 8 by 10 on the horizontal, and it had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And every day was different, okay? East had it, West had it. East still has it. And all you do is you pick up a little sheet and you just write what number you want of everything on a little tiny sheet. And you leave it the night before and they do it for you the next day. However, West changed that. They don't have a menu for the week. They have a sheet for the week. And the sheet is identical for every day. You just choose what you want. I think it's a waste of money, for one thing. It's an 8 by 10 sheet on the horizontal, and it's just good for 1 week, 7 days. And then you take 7 of them because you think, well, I gotta pick something for every day. But living in a villa, or anybody who has a brown bag, I'm sure can do the same thing, can go to East or West or not dine in. So those sheets are not used. For instance, I only used one of my sheets for West so far this week. The rest of them are going to go in the garbage because next week's menu is going to be almost identical except for 1 or 2 specials. And the soups will be different, I guess, for every day. That I give them that. Okay, that's about it. Dessert might be 1 dessert different. Again, you only have a choice of soup or fruit or dessert. Now, I think I have to have fruit every day, but I have to go to the supermarket and buy the fruit because I can't get it here because I don't want to pass up my dessert. That's part of my meal, too.
Okay. Thank you. My best guess is that East will also have our system soon.
I want to find out, is anybody doing anything about this gazebo situation? I loved that gazebo that was there. It's not there now. I think it was a landmark. It might have been called an icon. I don't even know what icon means, but it was something that I enjoyed. I think that those of us who would drive by, either way, it would probably lower our pulse rate by 10% and probably do the same with our blood pressure. It was a beautiful thing, and I want to know if any action is being taken. Now, the first thing someone's going to say is money. Where are we going to get the money? Is that right?
That's absolutely right.
If you want to go in this hallway over here, between here and the building I, and you look at the little dial that says what the temperature is, it'll say 74. I think that's much too low. If you want to raise it to 76 or 77, think of the dollars that you could save by doing that. And I don't know however many hallways we have between the 2 campuses, but that's one place we could save some money. Another thing that I'm thinking about is having a bucket, and we could contribute. I'll be glad to start that and give Jack something to do up there with the treasurer. He never says a damn thing. The second thing, and I'll shut up, and I don't see anybody from culinary here, which I love. I think our culinary is doing a great job. Are we going to teach the chef on the east side how to make barbecue ribs?
Okay. Okay. Kathy indicated to me the food forum, if you want to have a direct discussion with Tim, he puts together a food forum. It's going to be the 31st at 11 a.m. Here in the multi-purpose room. So I encourage people that are having some of the issues that you're talking about to come to that food forum, because that is where Tim gets a lot of his information. The culinary committee, which doesn't meet tomorrow but meets on the Thursday after, if you want to come, it's an open meeting. There are culinary committee members. I don't know how much participation there you have, but anybody's welcome, I think, to come. So anything else people would like to discuss right now? Phyllis? Yeah.
Regarding East not using the same system that we're using here for culinary, they start September 1st.
I thought that would happen. I
They're
just didn't
behind
know
us.
when.
They're simply behind us. They will get the new menu, and they'll have the new reservation system as well. And the reservation system is fun once you get it onto your phone, and they're setting it up out here so that you can come down to the lobby and make your reservation there as well.
Okay, thank you. Anything else people would like to raise? Thank you very much for attending. Really appreciate it. And I hope we can follow up and do some good things.